People are spending $400 on an umbrella when they have no job. They're going into debt, credit card debt, to buy lottery tickets because some states let you buy lottery tickets on a credit card, and then they're praying to get approved for a store credit card so they can save 15% off of their order, and now you're wondering why you're broke. What's up, everybody? I am Jasprit Singh from theminoritymindset.com, and welcome to the Minority Mindset. 78% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. That means if you walk out of your house right now and you look down the street and you look at your neighbors, 8 out of 10 of your neighbors don't have a couple $1,000s in their bank account right now to protect them from a financial emergency. It doesn't matter where you live. This is the reality of what's going on in America right now. The majority of people are broke. I know this is going to hurt a lot of people's feelings, but there's a lot more to this than just how much money you make. I've talked about people like Earl Crawley on our YouTube channel who make minimum wage and yet have built a multiple six-figure investment and savings account while having kids, while living a life. And then on the other hand, I've also talked about people like Henry's. If you remember, Henry is an acronym that stands for High Income Earner Not Rich Yet, and it's this movement of people that make at least 6 figures a year that are broke because their goal right now is not to save money or invest money, but to live this lavish lifestyle where they're spending all their money to look rich. This is where the vast majority of people get kind of offended, and they put up the smoke screen and they say things like, oh, you shouldn't talk about money like that and you shouldn't worry about money, when in reality, we all use money every single day. If money really didn't matter, then why are you going to work every single day to get a paycheck? Now, I get it. There's a lot more to life than money. Okay, money is just one small aspect of our life. But if you don't understand money, and if you don't have money, you become a slave to money because now you're drowning in debt and you have all these payments that you can't afford. So you're going to work every single day, not to enjoy your life, not to do something fulfilling, but just so you can make your back payments. But if you understand money and you know how to use money and you can grow your money, now you can build your wealth. Now you can take care of yourself and your family financially, and you have more money to help other people and to help your community because you have the resources to do that. If you're broke, you don't have the resources to help other people. When you're broke and you're drowning in debt, the only person that you're helping is your bank because you're paying these insane rates on money that you borrow to buy things that you didn't even need. So many Americans put a lot of weight on luck when it comes to success, and I'm speaking strictly financial success right now. They see somebody who's become wealthy or rich and they say, oh, this person must have become wealthy. They must have inherited the wealth, or they must have just got lucky with their business or their investments or whatever. Luck is the reason why they're successful. If that was the case, why is it that 88% of millionaires are self-made? That means these are people who did not have millionaire parents. These are people who created their millions themselves. 9 out of 10 millionaires out there that are millionaires made it themselves. This is where you can say, oh, they had an advantage, or they had this, or they had that. We can spend the rest of our lives looking for advantages that other people had as to why they could become successful, or you can spend that same time understanding how to use your money the right way. That way you can build your wealth, because there's a system to understanding how to use your money. The first thing you got to do is get your mindset right. I talked about this a little while ago on YouTube, but I was at Speedway getting gas, and Speedway actually had this video on their screen that was talking about how they let you buy lottery tickets with credit cards. And I went in because I needed to get a pack of gum, and there was a lady there who was frantic, who was freaking out because her credit card got rejected when she was trying to buy like $150 worth of lottery tickets. She was buying dozens and dozens of lottery tickets because this was her kind of hope of becoming successful. Spending all your money on lottery tickets or financing this lottery tickets is gambling, and it's a straight path to broke. Not only are you not going to win, but now you're going to be spending all your future paychecks paying off these bad decisions. Wealth is a long-term game, and if you really want to know the secrets to not being broke and the secrets to becoming wealthy, there's 5 things that you need to understand. These are the 5 things you have to understand. First, you got to stop living in a net zero life. Second, you got to avoid the money traps that are out there. Third, you need to know how to grow your money and grow your wealth faster. Fourth, you got to stop living in this game of the fake flex. And 5, you need to understand the game of how money works. These are the 5 things I'm going to be going over in this video, so make sure you watch this video until the end. First, let's talk about living this net zero lifestyle, because this net zero lifestyle is keeping the majority of people broke, and it is holding you back from becoming wealthy. The way it works is like this. The majority of people think, okay, I have $100 in my bank account right now, and if I have $100 in my bank account, that means I can go out and I can spend $100 on a pair of shoes because I have $100 in my bank account. If I have $100, I should be able to spend $100. This is net zero thinking, because if you have $100, you can spend $100. This mindset kills people's wealth, because if you have $100, you cannot afford to spend $100. This is why I keep saying that your income is not what determines if you're going to become wealthy or not, and your income is not what's going to determine if you're going to live broke or not. It's what you do with your money. If you make $100,000 and then you spend $100,000, guess what? You're broke. If you make $20,000 a year and you spend $20,000, guess what? You're still broke. The very first thing you have to understand is you are not allowed to spend every dollar that you have, because some of your money needs to be saved to protect you from emergencies, and some of your money needs to be invested to help build your wealth, okay? If you have $100 in your bank account, you cannot afford to spend $100. This becomes even more true if this money that's in your bank account is not yours. So when I was in law school, I had this friend, or acquaintance rather, that was in my law school with me. And I was talking to him one day about what his plans were for the evening, and then he told me that he was going out to buy a really nice umbrella. I thought it was kind of funny that his evening activity was to buy an umbrella, but I understand it because, you know, we're in a rainy area and it's not fun to go walk around when it's wet outside. So I told him that I bought my umbrella from Home Depot and I paid like $5 from it. And he told me, now remember, this is when we were in law school, okay? He did not have a job. He told me that he wanted to go out and buy this really fancy $400 umbrella. He showed it to me on his phone. And I was like, $400 for an umbrella? Who spends $400 on an umbrella? And he told me that he had this extra cash from his student loans in his bank account, so he wanted to use this money to buy and invest in this umbrella. So when he goes to these attorney interviews, he's gonna look really fancy with his $400 umbrella in his hand. That is net zero thinking on steroids. Now you assume, oh, I have $400 in my bank account, even though this money is not yours. This is money from the bank, and you feel like you need to spend this money because this cash is in your bank. When you live this lifestyle of spending every dollar you have in your bank, whether it's your money or someone else's money, it's even more expensive when it's someone else's money, but when you have this need to spend every dollar you have on things that don't make you money, like an umbrella, you are going to be broke. The solution to this net zero thinking is to create a system where you are not allowed to spend all the money you have. You have to create the system where you know that you have to live below your means. This is where our rule of 5 comes into play. Our rule of 5 says if you cannot buy 5 of them, you cannot afford 1 of them. So if you have $100 in your bank account, and we're talking about things you don't need to survive, if you have $100 in your bank account and you want to go buy something, you can only afford to buy something that costs $20. Because if you have $100 in your bank account, this $20 thing is what you can afford to buy 5 times over. So if you cannot buy it 5 times, you can't afford to buy it 1 time. Second, let's talk about money traps to avoid, because the majority of Americans are broke and will never build wealth because they're spending money they don't have on things they don't need, which will never make them any money. Sometimes this is obvious. Like I just gave you that example of that person I knew in law school who had money from student loans. This money was not his. This is the bank's money that he spent to buy an umbrella, right? But sometimes this money trap isn't so obvious. When the majority of people say that they can afford something, what they actually mean is I can make the monthly payments. But that's very different than being able to afford something. The simplest example of this is your cell phone, okay? Your $1,000 cell phone that you have in your pocket. So many people are financing this phone on $20, $30, $40, $50 monthly payments because they cannot afford to pay $1,000 for a phone. So they think, oh, I can afford this phone because I can pay $50 a month with 0% APR financing, so I'm not paying any extra money in interest and I can afford this phone, right? But this is a money trap. What happens when you finance something that you can't afford, that you don't have the cash to buy up front? Well, now you're going to be paying this $20, $30, $40, $50 a month for the rest of your life, because every year you're going to get into this trap of buying a brand new phone. And then secondly, you never have the pain of this money leaving your wallet. You think that you just bought a $1,000 phone, but you never had the pain of $1,000 leaving your wallet. All you saw was $50 leaving your account every single month. And so you think now, oh, I bought this $1,000 phone and it's only costing me $50 a month. So let me go and buy this $2,000 laptop that you can't afford, but it's only $85 a month. So now you buy that. And then you buy the sofa that you can't afford because that's only $75 a month. And now you're spending money on things that you can't afford because you think you can live way up here, but you can actually afford down here. You thought you were being financially smart by paying 0% APR, but you just got played, because now you're spending more money on things that you don't need because you never had the pain of money leaving your pocket in the first place. The reason 0% APR is so profitable for businesses is because when you buy things with 0% APR, you never have the pain of money leaving your bank. And so now you can buy a whole bunch of things that you didn't know that you can afford because you can't actually afford it. All you think you can afford is the monthly payments. There's a difference between being able to afford a smartphone and being able to make the monthly payments. There's a difference between being able to afford a brand new car and being able to make the payments. You need to start being able to afford the things you buy, not just making the monthly payments. The goal with the first two things that I talked about, not living net zero and avoiding money traps, is all so you can grow your money and your wealth faster. If you follow the first two things that I just talked about, you avoid net zero, you avoid these money traps, what you're going to see happen is all of a sudden you're going to find extra money in your bank account out of nowhere. Now, what you want to do with this extra money is you want to put some of it to work. That way you can grow your wealth faster. There's two terms you need to understand: assets and liabilities. I've talked about this before, so if you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure you do that. But what you need to understand are assets are things that put money in your pocket. Liabilities are things that take money away from your pocket. Your $400 umbrella, your shoes, your lottery tickets, all these things are liabilities. If you're spending money on something and it's not putting money in your pocket, or if you're not buying it for the sole purpose of making money, it's a liability. The interesting thing about liabilities, though, is liabilities make you look rich, right? When you go out and you buy a fancy new wardrobe, you buy new shoes, you buy a new purse, you buy a new cell phone, you buy a new watch, all this stuff makes you look rich. And so this is what broke people do. Broke people spend all their money on liabilities. That way they can look rich, but they're actually just product rich. You look rich, but you're actually broke because you have no assets. If you want to become wealthy, you got to flip this around. You need to start spending more money on assets, which are things that pay you for owning them. And then once you have more money coming in, then you can afford to buy these liabilities. The first time I really understood this concept of assets and liabilities was when I first started investing in real estate. I was running this event planning business and I had money in my bank account, and I really wanted to buy this BMW. It was the 3 Series, and I really wanted to buy a 3 Series because it looked sweet and it would look really cool with my image. But then for some reason, I was reading books and every book talked about how wealthy people owned real estate. I had no idea what real estate investing was. I didn't grow up with real estate investing family members, but I decided, I wanted to try this out. So instead of using my money to buy a car, I ended up buying a small little condo. This condo, as soon as I bought it, about a month later after renovating it, I rented it out for $600 a month, and after paying all expenses, I was left with $250 a month in profit every single month, and I didn't have to physically do any work to get this $250 a month. This was passive income I was getting because I spent my money buying an asset instead of using my money to buy a liability, which was a car. Assets are things that put more money in your pocket. These are the things you need to buy if you want to build wealth. Liabilities are things that make you look rich, but they keep you broke. So now if your goal is to become wealthier faster, you got to spend less money here and buy more assets aggressively. And it doesn't have to be a ton of money to start. You can start with $5 a day or $5 a week or $20 a week, whatever you have. You just got to make these small incremental investments. That way you can buy these assets and build your wealth faster. The reason it's important for you to be buying these assets instead of just keeping your money in your bank account is because at the end of the day, when you're working to make money, you physically are working to make money. When you save money, your money is just sitting like this. It's flat. Your money isn't doing anything. The amount of money you have in your savings account today is going to be the same amount of money you have in a year, assuming you don't take any money out or put it in, right? So if your money is in your savings account, it's just sitting there. But you can't physically always be working, right? You want to live this life where you have other sources of income coming in. This is where assets come in. When you invest your money, you can see your money grow like this. It grows quicker than your money in your savings account, and it grows without you physically having to earn this money. You're using your money as a tool, kind of like a magnet, to go out and attract you more money. And if you want to attract more money, you need to be buying more assets. The more money you put in here, the more money you're going to get back. A simple rule of thumb to help you out with this, if you want to build more wealth faster, is to follow our 5-to-1 rule, which says for every $5 you spend on liabilities, spend $1 buying assets. If you spend $5 at Chipotle, spend $1 investing in Chipotle. If you spend $100 at Amazon, spend $20 investing in Amazon. Now, if you do want to learn more about money management and investing like this, that way you can grow your wealth faster, we have a free ebook on money management and investing that you can read for free when you sign up for our financial education emails, which are also free. You can get a free ebook and start reading our financial education emails by clicking the link up here or by clicking the link in the description below. By the way, our financial education emails are separate from our financial news emails. Fourth, you gotta stop living this fake flex lifestyle. We're living in the day and age of social media where people live their lives based off of what they see on Instagram. Look, more than half the stuff you see on Instagram is fake. There are people that are going into debt to finance the perfect Instagram page because people are going into debt, borrowing money to buy things that way they look cool on Instagram. This has turned into a game of chicken where people are competing against each other to see who can go bankrupt first. Just because somebody has something doesn't mean they can afford it. Okay? Remember the things that we talked about in this video? The majority of people are broke. Just because your friends are showing off the things that they just bought doesn't mean that they can afford to buy those things. Life doesn't have to be a competition. These big companies want it to be a competition because they know that if all your friends are competing against each other on what you own, you're going to be spending more money at these companies, but it doesn't have to be a competition. You don't need to go out and spend all your money and make every company around you rich. Use your money to build your wealth first. This brings me to number 5. You gotta understand the game, okay? Everybody in the world is after your money, okay? This does not mean that businesses are evil or that they don't deserve to exist. This is just how the game works. Businesses want your money. Apple wants you to buy their AirPods. Lululemon wants you to buy their leggings. Chipotle wants you to buy their extra guac. What you need to do is create this filter, okay? The whole world is asking you for your money. What you need to do is have this filter in place. That way you know what is worth spending money on and what is not spending money on. Because right now, what the majority of people do is they don't have this filter. When they see something they like, they just spend their money. They don't have this filter. You need to know what's worth spending money on and what's not worth your hard-earned money. The goal is not for you to live small for the rest of your life, okay? The goal is for you to live bigger and expand your means. But the only way you can do that is if you have more money for yourself. That way you can invest more money into yourself. That way you can have more money attracting you more money. And when you have that, that's when you can go out and live a bigger lifestyle. You can buy the nicer things, you can have the nicer car, you can have the bigger home. But in order to do that, you need to make sure you can afford it first. That way you're not stressing about the payments. The goal of the game is to become wealthy. That way you can buy all the nice things you want without worrying about the price. But you can never do that if every time you make a buck, it's constantly just going out. You need to know when it's worthwhile for you to part with your money. But this also goes both ways, because once you understand the game and you understand how money works, that's when you're going to want to fuel your financial system, because now you understand, okay, I need to use more of my money to buy assets, investments, which are things that pay me. And if you really want to ramp that up, then you're going to need more money coming into your financial system. That way you have more money to invest and you have more money to grow your wealth faster. And the only way you can do that is to come onto this side of the equation, the producer side of the equation, and learn how to create more income. This is going to depend on what you like. Maybe you're just going to work overtime at your job. You're going to try to get a promotion. You're going to try to get a raise. That way you can earn more money. For some of you, this might be starting a side hustle. Maybe you have a side cake business. Maybe you become a freelancer. You just have this thing on the side that you do to earn more money. That way you can build your wealth faster. And for some of you with the entrepreneurial bug, this is the opportunity for you to go out and understand how to create value. That way you can create a product that people need that improve people's lives. The name of the game is not spending money whenever you can and then trying to find steals or deals that are not actually deals. One time I was at the mall before this whole pandemic happened, and there were these two girls in front of me in the line to check out, and the cashier asked them, would you like a store credit card because you're going to save 15% off your order? I forget which store this was now. Maybe it was Macy's or JCPenney. And these two girls were like, yeah, that would be great. And then the cashier starts looking up the credit information, and these girls were literally praying that they would get approved for the store credit card. And when the cashier came back and said that you're approved, they literally started dancing with joy, right? When you have that, you are just being bombarded with these places, these companies that want your money, and you're just giving it to them as soon as you have the opportunity. You got to stop living like that. You need to understand the game. That way you can keep more money for yourself and build your wealth first. If you enjoyed this video, here's a video that I think you'll love. And while you're at it, make sure you subscribe to the Minority Mindset YouTube channel and grab our free ebook. That way you can get our financial education emails. Here's a trailer for the next video. And as always, keep hustling. Dude, I don't want to wait 30 years to become a millionaire. I get it. Hearing things like, you should not buy a